NI in the fourth slot. Because in a way, I feel like for being an INFJ, extroverted sensing is in a lot of ways like the missing piece to a lot of things. Um, if I spend too much time in my head uh, thinking about ideas about how I think things should look or how things could be or something like that, and I'm not spending enough time just being uh, in physical reality.
Do you think that is an issue for you, Ken? That you don't use it that much?
I mean, even right now, I'm having the thought to myself that I'm too much in my head, that I'm somehow missing what's actually going on because I'm spending too much time thinking about how I think it should play out. So it is an issue. Um,
Not necessarily.
how do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, if you're happy just being in your head, I mean, for me, that's fine. But
But I'm
if you
not
want
quite happy being in my
to
head.
get things done, then it might be an issue.
I'm not quite happy being in my head because it doesn't do enough. I'm missing too much by
Okay,
only being in
then
my
it's
head.
an issue.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
missing too much, and
but you
my
can't have your cake
preferences
and
for
eat it
how.
too.
No, here's the thing. No, it's not a cake and eat it too situation because the dominant function Ni is directly correlated with Se. The more I experience in physical reality, the more actual patterns that I'll be able to see and interact with. Whereas if I'm just staying in my head, working with Ti and thinking about, or Si to a certain extent, and just trying to build an entire model for life based off of what I've seen so far, there might be more environmental information that would improve the models that I have. But because I'm trying to put an emphasis of TI over SE and the SE NI axis, uh, it's slowing me down, basically. Tapping into extroverted sensing would be more beneficial, and I see the tertiary function as needing to take a backseat role in a lot of ways, whereas it tries to push itself forward when really it's more difficult to tap into the inferior. I'm not sure how it is for Pop with FE, but I imagine that for tertiary, it's something that pops up more often. It's something that you utilize more often to a certain, in certain ways. And that I think she mentioned before how it's like she doesn't really feel like she uses NI to a lot in a lot of ways. For
How do
me,
you
with
use your
extroverted
FE?
sensing,
How do you use your FE?
Me?
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I'm not quite aware because the cognitive functions and all that it's really new to me. So I'm just trying to get to know it. That's also why I'm asking so many questions. But the FE is something I'm really working on actually right now.
So,
Um, I don't really know when I use it naturally.
do you feel it's something you use to read people, something you use to manage other people's perceptions, or something you use to determine where and when you should act?
Mostly the last one, I think. On where and when I should act because in the past I've heard a lot of people and I didn't really realize it at first. So I'm kind of trying to um what's it called? Not evolve it, but
Develop?
make it grow. Yeah, to develop it. Um, so yeah, I can use it to function better.
Do you do you ever try to schmooze people?
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
It means like make them feel good to get them to do what you want.
Manipulate? No, not really. I used to do that a lot when I was small though. I did that a lot, but that was only to my family. I can't recall a time when I've done it with my friends, but with my family all the time.
How would that look? Like, would it be? What would you do?
I would just be really nice. I would see what I thought my mom would want to hear,
All right. So
and
t-
then I would
say
say that
say
to get what I wanted.
you're trying to get something out of me right now. Pretend I'm a family member, And
I can't just do that.
What do you mean? Yes, you can.
You don't look like anyone in my family.
Oh, just pretend. I have your windmill, and I'm not giving it back to you because you owed me a windmill, I said. But then you fixed the dike one time when it was my job to fix the dike. So you say we're even. You're trying to get me to give me back your windmill.
You just give it to me.
Well, but it's my windmill.
I don't know. Now I would just take it back by force. I would just tell you how it's unfair, and then you have it. And then I would be like, hey, you gotta give it to me because I need it for this and this and that. And why did you even take it in the first place? It's not fair. I would probably play it like that now.
Okay, but
I don't remember doing it.
I'm very stubborn. The only way you're gonna get it from me is if you butter me up somehow.
But butter you up.
Do you know that expression?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to try to flatter me.
I don't want to butter you, Eric. I don't want to do that.
Laylee Pop,
Yeah.
I know that you are one of the best people I've ever encountered at flattering other people. You are so good at it, and I know that if you really try and do your best to convince me.
But buttering is not working on me, Eric.
Okay, well, I didn't say it was gonna work, Laylee Pop. I said that's what I want you to demonstrate. I wanted to see if your flattering was like mine. I'm only recently learning how to do it. I'm practicing it.
Practicing flattering? I don't know. It's because I don't want to be that person anymore. Who does that? Don't trick me.
Laylee Pop.
Stop,
You
Eric.
are
Stop
too
right
smart.
there.
You are too smart to fall into that trap. You know you see so clearly. You do. I can
I already
tell.
told you buttering me doesn't work. I see what you're doing. You're doing the thing to me that you want me to do to you. But it doesn't work.
Okay, I didn't say it was gonna work.
Oh yeah, Eric? Which Enneagram are you actually?
I'm 783.
Just curious. Oh, okay.
First I like to play, then I get mad when you get in the way of my playing, and then finally I'll say, fine, I'll do something useful.
Do you know
Sounds
what
good.
your Enneagram is, Lily Pop?
Yeah, I'm an 8 with 7.
You're 8-7 what?
No, eight
So
wing
I
7.
don't know. I don't know the tri-types thing. I just know I'm an 8 with 7.
All
Or
right,
7 with 8. I'm actually unsure.
let me ask you the questions.
I'm the tinfoil type.
Number
Are you
one
are you
question.
gonna
Number one
are
question.
you
It's
are
only
you
three
gonna test me?
questions. Easy questions. Number one question.
Okay.
When
let's
you
go.
encounter conflict, some sort of dispute between people, is your first response, your most natural reaction to that conflict, to get mad and fight it out? Or is it to make peace? Or is it to distance yourself from the conflict?
Mm, it depends on who it's with, but usually, I know that with my family again, I would definitely just get mad. I would not be reasonable, but I would usually distance myself from the I would try to
So
resolve it
8.
immediately. That's what I would do. That's not one of the choices, but that's what I would do.
Resolve it immediately, meaning, oh, fuck no. Or meaning, now, look, I know it seems like we can reach a compromise, I'm sure. Which is more
Definitely
you.
not that one.
Not the compromise one? Oh, okay. So I think you're 8. And then the next set of options is this. In order to deal with the emotion of shame, which we all feel sometimes, ashamed of ourselves, in order to deal with that underlying possible emotion, are you more likely to be helpful? Or are you more likely to be a high achieving person? Or are you more likely to be a iconoclast, a rebel?
If I'm experienced shame,
Well, forget about the shame. Which of those things do you like better?
why did you mention it if it's not?
Because that's what the question
Okay.
is asking for. It's saying we all have some sort of underlying strategy that we use to deal with shame or the possibility of shame. We either prove ourselves worthy by being helpful, by achieving, or by being iconoclastic and rebelling.
I don't understand. It's like,
Which of these words do you identify with more? Helper,
oh, like that. Okay.
achiever, or rebel?
I was stuck with the shame, man.
That's why I tried to cut it out and you wouldn't let me.
The rebel one.
Fine.
Okay.
So 8-4, and then the last one. Are you more of, if you know there's something coming down the pike, a deadline you're supposed to meet, and it's been hanging over your shoulder, you haven't necessarily been doing it like you should have been, and you're fucking annoyed by the fact that it's there, are you more likely to keep ignoring it if you got a little cushion where you just go, I'm going to keep playing this game? Or are you more likely to think about it like, well, okay, maybe if I really think about what's going to happen if I miss that deadline, then I can understand why I don't have to actually do it or something like that? Or are you more likely to um, curl up in bed and feel comfortable and safe away from the threatening deadline?
The second one, I think.
So you're more likely to think about it, you say.
I will usually do the deadline, but I'll do it in the last second. If it's important. If it's not important, I may just be like,
When
nah.
you were procrastinating, were you trying to ignore it and occupy yourself with other things, or were you
Oh, while I was
while you were
procrastinating.
procrastinating? How did you
While I was
procrastinate?
then definitely not the second one.
Okay, so you're
Um,
7-8-4.
the first one was wait, because I didn't answer the last one yet. The first one was kind of distracting myself from it, and the last one was like not thinking about it
The last one was
at
nesting.
all.
Nesting, making your life more simple and cutting out responsibilities so that you're just experiencing the nestiness of home.
Uh, Nesting, the first one, I think.
Yeah, so I think you're 7-8-4. I,
784.
I also have a belief that a lot of
It's
seven
so
eight
easy.
threes, they're actually 7-8-3s, but they start off as 7-8-4s, and then 4 changes to 3. Now it depends. If I thought you had the 4 in a higher position, then I'd say you might be something else. But I think you are 8-7-4, and that means
874.
8-7-4 uh,
The
means you'll
messenger
probably
archetype.
eventually become a 8-7-3, which is a mover shaker type. But Ken, go ahead and tell her about 8-7-4. Tell her what she's won.
874 and 854. So 874 and 854 are very similar and can be difficult to distinguish as 8 has access. Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to find some specifically about 874. Repeated that same thing there. Hold on. 874 tri-type feels lighter and more enthusiastic than the 847, which was more like a strike of lightning burrowing into the ground. Um, as an SX being sexual 874, I feel called to discover as much as I can about human nature and then share what I've learned. Some of my greatest moments of clarity have come during times of great adversity. When I feel grief and loss, it always feels personal and I feel separate from others. When I allow the pain and suffering the 8 wants to avoid, I'm able to connect to that which is universal and know that all people everywhere understand the meaning of loss. This is when I remember that I'm never truly alone or separate. Sorry, that may not.
Except when everybody leaves.
Can you send me a
I'm never.
link?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You should read her
Are
mover
you saying
shaker type
sorry?
too. She might feel uh, more in tune with mover shaker. If that's the case, then I'm right about the 4-3 thing. I think if you got
Well,
4 in the
that's.
last slot and you're 7-8-4 or 8-7-4, that you're probably going to shift to 8-7-3 or 7-8-3, because
you gotta scroll down and find the
Can you change
seven
your
eight.
type actually?
I think my personal opinion, this is nothing but that. It's not based on anything. In my opinion, the tri-type, the only number that is certain to stay the same is the first one. So if you're at
Okay.
8 first, you'll always be an 8. I
Okay.
think for most people, the first 2 stay the same, 7 and 8. But I do think there was a time when I was not 7 and 8, when I was 7 and 9 when I was really young, maybe, or something. I don't know. But one thing I'm confident about is that at one point I was 7-8-4, and that now I'm 7-8-3.
Okay.
And whether I was a 3 expressing as a 4 or whether my type actually changed, I don't know. But that third number, I think, changes from 4 to 3 if you're a 7-8-4 to start out with. Because You get tired of rebelling, and your rebellion turns into a kind of achievement that is a little bit smack you in the face, maybe.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure I've always been an 8. At least I was very sure when I heard about it at first.
Me too with the
But then
7.
again, I was a teenager at the time.
I think I've
Not the
always been a
best.
7.
Yeah. Well, if you're always the same, then you're always a 7. Yeah.
But I think that the last number of the tri-type changes. So a 783 is called mover shaker type, and if you read that description, you may find it you identify with it more. I don't know.
Might
Does
also
the
be.
does the placement of the numbers matter?
No, the order doesn't
Okay.
matter, but they'll express
Okay.
differently. I mean, yeah, it does, but the name mover shaker applies to any combination of 783. Then the
Okay.
individual 783, 873, and 387, those express differently, and they depending on where you find information, they may or may not have distinguishing traits between them.
Whatever the lead number is, that would be
Okay.
your core type. So if you think that, sort of at the base you're an 8, then you'd start with 8, and then the other two numbers would follow the 8. Um, yeah. I feel
Yes.
like
So that can be.
I think, Eric, I'd mentioned before that I thought I was 6'4'1", but I think I'm probably 6'14", because I think that describes it a bit better.
You're a 6?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Nice.
was the face on the tinfoil.
Oh, that's why. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, there we go.
It all makes sense. I remember. I know. So I was like, that's Ken.
Yeah, you commented.
There
That's
is
Ken. I
no
was like,
doubt
no, you're
as to
mistaken. I was like, that's my
Mhm.
cousin, Tinfoilson.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah.
there is no doubt as to who would wear the pants in this family.
What's that? What are you
What
commenting on,
family?
Eric?
If this duel were to be a pair, you've got an 8 ESTP and a 6 INFJ. There is one
It's
boss
totally
in this
gonna be
family,
Ken.
right? There's
Totally
one
gonna be
boss.
Ken.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't know. I'm not really threatened by that idea. I don't think.
Right. Well, I mean,
It's
Why
like,
would you
it
feel
should be
threatened?
comfortable for you. You're the victim. You're the victim type in intimate
right.
relationships.
Do you like being a victim, Ken?
To an extent,
A little bit.
That's a yes. Okay.
yeah, it's a yes. It's a yes.
See,
Uh,
I like it, whereas I'm the infantile type.
yeah,
That means
he's
I'm
the
lazy. That's
or
code for lazy. That's code for lazy
ENT.
and
Eric
selfish.
is like the fun type.
I love that. I love that socionics test because it gives ENTPs for their first and second romance style. It gives them infantile and then aggressor underneath. And I told Taylor, I was like, that means you're the angry baby lover, is what you are.
Yes.
That's what you act
Angry
like as a lover.
baby lover?
No, that I'm saying for Taylor for the
Baby lover?
ENTPs. Listen, no, hold on. ENTPs when their romance style is to act like an angry baby. This is what I want, and I want it now.
hmm Lazy and selfish, as they say. Just like
Right,
infants.
lazy and selfish. Um,
Oh, that's so cute.
no, the thing I was gonna say with
No.
the victim thing is it's like I don't mind being a victim until I don't, then I really don't. But the way I've explained it is that some people they want to yield and sort of be soft in a way so that they want to do that effectively so that they can go back to being assertive because that's like their main focus. For me, I feel like it's the opposite. It's like I want to be yielding. I want to, just be sort of carefree in a way. But every now and again, I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I got to put my foot down just because I'm tired of this bullshit, something like that. And then so that I express that so that I can go back to just sort of being chill in a way.
I yield fussily.
Yeah.
For sure. I yield fussily in things like decisions that have to be made that I don't. Where if I'm disagreeing with the other person and I think I'm right, then I might yield out of general peace considerations, but
You?
I'll usually yield fussily if I have to yield at all to the other. I want to be
Uh,
I want to yield on things I don't care about. And if I care about it at all, I want it to go my way, basically.
That's not what I saw earlier though with the Muslim thing or the Eastern thing. So you cared about that, or because you definitely step your foot down.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't like to yield on things that I don't like to yield on.
Okay.
But I
But you
do
also
like to
said you
yield on
don't
things I
care.
don't care about because, in other words, there are certain kinds of things that I might disagree with that I might not respond to at all. Certain kinds of things that I might make a show of yielding about, and other kinds of things that I might respond to specifically making a show of not yielding about, and others that I'll make a show of open for discussion. It depends, right? But at
All
any
right.
rate, if I'm in a relationship, an intimate one-on-one monogamous relationship with somebody, and I want veto power, which is that if there comes a point where you and I disagree about something significant other, and it's something I care about, and we've had a reasonable discussion about it and haven't come to a conclusion, then it's my way that it happens because I'm righter than you.
Okay.
That seems perfectly reasonable to you. Other types don't necessarily think it's reasonable. You see it as reasonable because you could see yourself implementing the same requirement upon another.
Eric,
Yeah.
just for observational reasons, I'd like to point out I didn't hear anything you said. I zoned out. So I don't know if that was
Oh,
important.
I
Typical
was talking about your
INFJ.
mom mostly.
No, you weren't.
I was. You missed it.
You
It was
don't know
great.
that. You didn't listen. You just
Actually,
sat
no,
there.
here's the thing. Actually, what I meant is that I remember enough of the conversation to know that you weren't talking about my mom. You were talking about yielding or something like that. But the particulars, yeah.
He might have mentioned it without you hearing. That one moment that you saw, it was just like Ken's mom. But you don't know that.
She's a real nurturer, Ken.
Is that what
She's a real nurturer. She's perfect for me.
mm,
You called me young, man.
was that?
Who called you young?
What?
Me? I called you young?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you are young. You're 22, you said.
Yeah, I am young. Depending on who's talking to me. I mean, to a 5-year-old, I am a granny.
Right.
But yeah.
I'm not a
I
grampy
should probably
yet.
read the thing you sent me. Sorry?
I would like to be a grampy.
Then do it.
How?
Do you have
How-
kids?
Yeah, I have one.
Then set
Tell
him
her,
up.
tell her to get pregnant.
Arrange a marriage. Arrange a marriage and just get him to get some kids. Easy.
It's a chick. I have a chick kid. She's got a good
Then
boyfriend.
she.
She's got a good boyfriend. I'd like her to get pregnant. That'd be good.
Almost there.
She's
Almost there.
18. It's old enough.
Too late if you ask me. Back in my day, you used to get them married off at 15. So you're saying, Eric?
Well, I'm not saying
Back in
you
those
get
days when you-
married. I just like her to get pregnant.
Back in those days when you whipped the mules?
Maybe
Gotta
she'll-
set the mood for them. Put them on a vacation to what's romantic? Italy.
I had
They'll
Delilah
set the
house
mood.
sitting when I was gone. I'm sure
Yes.
she made good use of this opportunity. I mean, it's not like there's any concerted effort to prevent them there, but I guess Delilah's smart enough that she's probably. I know she takes the birth control pill.
Hide them.
Switch them out.
I should, yeah, I switch it
Haven't
out with
noticed
sugar
that.
pills. And see what happens. Hey,
That'll make you
Delilah's
very, very
pregnant.
popular.
Everyone else would be mad about it, except for me. I'd be the one who would be happy.
Yeah.
Some people think it's irresponsible of me to encourage my 18-year-old daughter to get pregnant. I say,
Yeah.
hey, you shut up, you.
I have needs. I need them fulfilled. Fuck her.
I have grandpa needs. Come on now. Get with it.
Mine are way more important.
And I'm quite confident that she's fertile because her mother was very fertile.
Jesus.
Her mother was very fertile. That's why I got with her mother in the first place.
Jesus.
When she had wide hips, so I knew that she'd be good at bearing a
I
child
gotta,
for me.
I got a mucus tested. I got a cervical mucus test, and it came back real good in the results.
Well, I'm just saying that Delilah's got the same kind of wide
Trump
hips as
here.
her mother had. So I suspect my read of her mother as being very fertile, which was very accurate. She got pregnant as soon as we started trying. As soon as we stopped trying not to, you know. And
What do you say, we?
well, my first wife and I.
Oh, I thought you talked about your
Delilah's
daughter.
mother.
I
No,
was crazy
Delilah's
down
mother.
for a second.
Jesus.
Delilah's mother. I'm
Hey,
saying
hey,
because
I don't know
Delilah
how to
has
do
the
things in
same.
Europe.
Delilah has the same hips as her mother, and her mother, yeah,
Sounding
she does. It's
Islamic.
good for bearing children, because if you have a skinny hipped woman, she's gonna have a lot more trouble bearing children than a wide hipped woman. It's true.
Mhm. So I gotta be
He's not
careful
wrong.
as well.
Do you
He's
know
not wrong.
that my first wife, that baby came out so fast and so easy. It was remarkable. When we got to the hospital, the nurse said, got a reading. She measured the spread of the cervix, and the reading was like 8 millimeters. And she said that can't
Oh, that's
possibly be
good.
right. It can't possibly be right, but it was right. And within like half an hour, they were like, get her into the operating room, get her into the delivery room. And then the doctor came in, and it was like, geez, that was fast. And then Delilah, my ex-wife was like, my ex-ex-wife was like, like complaining and shit. But it didn't even last very long.
Uh,
It was like she was like, hold my hand. I was like, okay, I'm holding it.
Whatever.
Yeah, see, my
Are you
mom
done
didn't
yet?
have
Living
as
bird,
my
man.
listen. My,
And
my
then
mom didn't have as much
boom.
because she was kind of skinny, and I was a 10-pound baby coming out. 10 pounds.
The point is, she came out lickety split. She was only on that table for like an hour or something, 2 hours. I don't know. Not
How
even that long.
goopy was she? Was she
that's
very
good news
goopy?
for me, though.
Why?
How's
That's
You
that?
have
nice.
wide hips.
Yeah,
That's good. It's good. You can pop them out.
it's good for me if I can just do that. I don't want to lay on the table for 24 hours that I
Right.
hear
Right.
the horror
Exactly.
story.
Why
You
waste
think
all
if it
that
was
time?
easy enough, you'd forget about it? Like you were just walking one day, you're like, oh shit, the kid came out. I totally missed
That
that.
would be amazing. That would be the dream scenario.
If you catch
But
Except
it,
if the
if you
kid
drop
can
it,
get
then
hurt.
you're screwed. Then you really regret it.
Yeah, okay.
Um.
So maybe
How did
not
we
that,
get
but
here? How did we get here?
So
ask Eric.
here's the thing.
Started it.
After the baby comes out, and father, carried baby to the box room where they put the babies in boxes for a while for some reason, and then they push mom back into the hotel room, and I go back in there, and I'm like, well, it's late. You're all drugged up, and you probably want to go to sleep. I'm gonna go home, and for some reason, she'll freak out and be like, no, you have to stay here. And I'm like, well, why though? The baby's in the box, and you're just gonna sleep, and I'm just gonna sit in that chair over there or something. Why? And I want to go pull bong rips. And
I don't get it either, actually.
she was mad about it for like the rest of our short-lived marriage. It's like, you've
She was
got to
mad
be
about
kidding
that
me.
one thing.
Yeah, about why that I wouldn't sit in the fucking room with her overnight after she had the baby, even though she was going to be sleeping the whole time. Like, why
Okay.
would she even want that?
I assume she felt vulnerable at the moment.
Well, what am I going to do?
I guess your presence lets her feel less vulnerable, probably. I don't know why.
I mean,
That would
she's
be
in a
my
hospital.
assumption.
She's in the perfect place if something happens to her for them to fix her. What does
Maybe
need
she
me there
liked
for?
you.
Well,
That's not a reason.
I mean, that's not a good reason to torture me. Therefore, I like you. Therefore,
Well,
you
she
have to
did
stay.
just have a baby.
Well, I did too.
Yeah. Your part
I can
was
see
much
that
harder,
the problem would be if you left her and wouldn't come back, but when she's sleeping, you can go home. I don't see how that's a
Right.
problem if you're
Obviously,
gonna
I
come
came
back
back the
anyway.
next day to get her, and I had
Yeah,
to sit
I don't
around
see how
all
that's a
fucking
problem.
morning because Delilah wouldn't pee. Till finally, like an experienced nurse came in and held her foot under warm water And then she finally peed, and then they let us go home.
I guess that's something that makes sense to me because sometimes in situations where it's like I'm under obligation to be there, but I'm just kind of standing there because I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just here. But it's like apparently I'm obligated to be somewhere. And I'm like, what am I doing
You're
specifically?
sitting.
Yeah.
You're sitting in this chair uncomfortably all night.
Didn't you ask her why? Why she wanted you to stay?
Just asking the question made her mad.
Why? What? Okay.
Like, of course,
So she didn't
I'm
respond
supposed
to
to
it.
know that I'm supposed to stay.
Okay.
I don't know. How long have I been
I'd,
here, Elsie?
I'd, I'd leave, come back, throw a bar of chocolate at her, and be like, "Guess what? You're able to yeah, good job." And
Come
then I'd
back with
leave and
divorce papers.
Yeah, smooth it. No, smooth it with like flowers, and that's why I went home, honey, because I wanted to get you this and all these baby clothes, and yeah,
Oh, that's smart.
Okay,
all be a
so
good
all
recovery.
that, and then you get the last good night of sleep that you're gonna get for like the next 7 years,
Yeah, I slept
and then the
fine.
Okay.
floodgates open, hell, and then at some point you emerge a PTSD riddled parent.
I liked parenting a small child. I liked it a lot. I got along with that idea just fine. I was a lot like Taylor. I was quite taken with my daughter, and
Because ENTPs are like well-adjusted children in a lot of ways.
Really?
some of us are reasonably well adjusted. We're like children for sure. I don't know about the well adjusted part.
Eric's like, I'm not debating the kid part. I'm debating the well-adjusted. That's not
Yeah, some of us are pulling it off reasonably well, INFJ style maybe. Uh, Others,
Some are just shitting themselves, literally.
yes, some are fucking it up every effing possible moment. You can run the gamut.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'm gonna run the gamut to go to the bathroom.
Okay, I'm gonna read the thing
Speaking of
and
shit,
Thanks for watching Talking with Famous People. Thanks
Oh, that
to
was running. Nice.
thanks to Waits
are we
McGee
still
for
recording?
Well, we've been recording the last 32 minutes, the best 32 minutes of all of our lives. I think
and
we can all
amazing.
agree on that.
Oh.
Not one of us has
So
experienced a better 32 minutes than those.